Now let's break down our featured story of the day. Former Bitmex chief foresees Bitcoin rising to $1 million per coin amid banking bailout and money printing surge. Let's break it down, shall we? Now, shout out to Arthur Hayes, the ex-CEO of the crypto exchange Bitmex, expressed his anticipation that the value of Bitcoin will surge to $1 million per coin in a couple of posts on social media platform X. On Monday, Hayes shared a price chart for troubled New York Community Bank Corp and wrote, "Resume the dump," citing the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's recent statement indicating that the U.S. economy and the banks are strong to very strong. Hayes noted that the New York Community Bank Corp said otherwise. Who is right, the market or the central banker? Never trust central bankers, family. Time and compounding interest are two things even Neo can't wish away. The bailout is coming. Bitcoin equals $1 million per coin. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and how many remember roughly a year ago we had the regional banking crisis, which took Bitcoin from the start of the year from 18,000 all the way above 40 G's. So deja vu, could this be round two? Let me know. At the end of January, Hayes shared on X that he expects Powell and Treasury Secretary Miss Finance Yellen to start printing money very soon, and citing a surprise loss at the New York Community Bank Corp. Now, fears gripped the U.S. banking sector last week as NYCB reported a jaw-dropping $252 million quarterly loss. Like, whoa, reversing $172 million profit year over year. The bank's loan losses quintupled to $552 million, fueled by commercial real estate concerns. NYCB stock tumbled 40% in a single day. They say Bitcoin's volatile. I mean, that's pretty bad to lose 40% in a day. And that was at January's close, following the earnings release, dragging the U.S. regional bank index down with it. Now, in a follow-up post Tuesday, Hayes shared a Bloomberg article about Moody's cutting NYCB's credit grade to junk status. That's right, all these banks should be junk status. Yellen said at the Senate hearing on Thursday, she hopes that the commercial real estate weaknesses will not become a systemic risk to the banking system. I hope it doesn't become. No, it is. You damn losers. However, she noted that there may be smaller banks that are stressed by these developments. The Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, the money printer go brr pimp, also said this week that some banks will have to be closed or merged out of existence. What does that mean? It means get your money out of the bank, family, because if there are bank runs, in which there will continue to be, you're not going to get your money out of the bank. And even if they're FDIC insured, guess what? If there is a genuine bank run, it's impossible to pay everybody because they don't even have the money. They barely keep any money at these fractional reserve banks. You know the name of the game. It's a big Ponzi scheme at the end of the day. But commenting on NYCB, the former Bitmex chief, Arthur Hayes, opined, "Oh baby, from junk to bankrupt. That's the future." And then more money printer go, brrr, Bitcoin equals $1 million per coin. Now, I personally think we will realistically hit $1 million. I don't know if it'll happen this year. It's possible, so I wouldn't rule it out, but I think it's most likely to occur in 2029. And let me tell you my math or reasoning and logic behind it. Typically, it's the year preceding the halving. We hit the cycle peak. So right now, we're in 2024. We're about to have a halving in roughly 2 months. So the block rewards for the miners are going to get cut in half. There's massive demand right now and massive buying going on between the ETFs like BlackRock and Fidelity, which we discussed earlier in the show. They're outpacing the actual supply by a factor of 10x. It's soon going to be 20x when the rewards get sliced in half like a samurai warrior. You already know. So the following halving is going to be in 2028. And typically, if history is to rhyme, it's going to be the year preceding the halving. In 2029, we hit the cycle peak for the following halving. That's when I can realistically see a $1 million Bitcoin price, which is pretty much in alignment with Kathy Wood's 1 million, 1.5 million. Now she's saying as high as 2.3 million per coin prediction by 2030. But what are your thoughts, family? Now, short term for this year, I can definitely see us hitting 6 figures. I think 100,000 is a great target for 2024, year of the halving, considering the previous all-time high was back in November. I think it was November 10th of 2021. We hit 69,000. And if we can just 2x the previous all-time high, that's 138,000 per Bitcoin. I'd say that's a pretty solid target for this year. What are your thoughts? But I do still feel that we're likely to hit the cycle peak in 2025. That's where I can foresee a multiple 6-figure Bitcoin price action. My bearish hypothesis is 222,000. Shout out Bring Facts for that number. And my bullish hypothesis is ultimately 500,000 per coin for this cycle peak. But I think it's more likely than going to occur in 2025. However, I must say I can be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a magic 8 ball I can shake and look into the future. This is just based on my thoughts and research and doing a show every day for the past 5 years, 6 years, however long it's been via the podcast. I mean, for Christ's sake, this is pod episode number 1500 and I think 46, right? Yep. 1546. So anything is possible. The truth is no one knows exactly how high or how low Bitcoin will go, but I'm more of a long haul investor. I'm thinking about this many cycles out. Like I'm focused on 2028 when everyone is focused on 2024 because I know the name of the game. If you just hodl for 4 years or longer, everyone who come before us and has hodled Bitcoin for that long is in the green. The only losers are the people like Dave Portnoy with the paper hands. You buy a bunch of Bitcoin and then it dumps and you're like, oh, I don't want to see it go to zero. I'll just sell at a loss. Well, you can't lose if you don't sell because 1 Bitcoin 10 years ago was equivalent to 1 Bitcoin. 1 Bitcoin today is equivalent to 1 Bitcoin, and 1 Bitcoin in another 1,000 years from now will still be equivalent to 1 Bitcoin. Do you understand that? Do you understand that Bitcoin is mathematically freaking guaranteed to continue to increase its purchasing power? It's a mathematical certainty. Do you understand that the dollar is mathematically guaranteed to decrease its purchasing power? These are the charts you guys need to be looking at instead of so focused on what's going to happen next week. Should I sell? Should I buy? Always be buying, always be accumulating. What is Michael Saylor always doing? You guys make fun of him. He's always buying the top. Well, his stash is now worth over 8 billion, probably closer to 9 billion. And before you know it, he'll be worth 100 billion. Before you know it, he'll be one of the richest men on the planet, be worth $1 trillion because he was buying the so-called tops. It's because he understands the long-term perspective of Bitcoin. He gets it. He understands it. How many of you get it? How many of you understand it? How many of you are accumulating more sats? That's the name of the game. We can care less, honestly, what the US dollar equivalent is for Bitcoin because the dollar is worthless. It's going to hyperinflate. There'll be a day where 1 Bitcoin is equivalent to $100 million. Why? Because the dollar is going to become worthless and effectively lose 99.99% of its purchasing power, right? Against Bitcoin. Just look at the charts. Look of what you could have purchased 50 years ago with 100 US dollars. You can buy a lot, right? You can buy a whole cart of groceries. Now you go grocery shopping, $100, you get like 3-4 items. It's insanity. This is due to inflation. That's why real estate is going through the roof. That's why oil, gas going through the roof. That's why everyday living expenses are going through the roof. It's because the dollar is becoming more and more worthless by the day as they continue to print more. Because the more they print, the more worthless it becomes and the more valuable Bitcoin becomes. Bitcoin is thy savior, just like El Salvador. It's thy savior. It's the ark. What are you going to do? You're going to hop on board, right? You're going to ride this train to the moon, this rocket ship, I should say, or you're going to, I'd rather trade this for fiat for a quick little gain. You know what I mean? Some of you guys will just never understand. So let me know your thoughts. I know I'm ranting, but hey, I'm flowing. So let's go.